Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas, and today I want to show you guys how we can go from finding an idea using Reddit and using a tool called GummySearch to actually building a design from this idea and then actually building this idea with AI using a tool called Lovable and then building a landing page for this idea using a tool called Framer and then actually at the end, bringing this landing page to Reddit again to this place where we found the initial problem and, basically presenting our solution and getting our first users to our app, right? So this is kind of the idea of this video, right? Finding the problem, creating an idea, creating a solution based off of this idea with AI, creating a design, creating a build, and then sharing it at the end. So if this is something interesting for you guys, stick around and let's get started. So the first thing that we can do is kind of look for different problems that people are facing, right? And in order to do that, we need to think about different communities of people out there, right? So there's this great, place called Reddit. I bet a lot of you have heard about it, and you kind of go here to look for questions that have been answered. I use it a lot to look for, answers in relation to no-code tools and WordPress and Lovable and all this stuff. But there's a bunch of other communities out there that have to do with pets, with cars, with magic tricks. I don't know, you name it, right? So we can go here on popular and look at different popular things that are being asked. So there's stock markets. Yeah, a lot of stocks going on right now. Teenagers, Europe, no stupid question, advice, animals. Maybe this is not the right place, but maybe we can go to explore. So we have some recommended for me based on the communities that or the servers that I've joined. Top in the US, trending now in the US, hidden gems, so TV too low. That's pretty interesting. What is this? A subreddit dedicated to showcasing TVs installed too close to the ground. Okay, you see? And has 40,000 members. So my 80-year-old's mom, TV too low and small. And they have basically, yeah, rate my setup. So I guess this is more of like a meme type of thing, right? But you can look for different types of things out here that, you kind of relate to. Maybe they're a hobby of yours. You like maybe to build stuff indoors, like building IKEA furniture, for example. There's probably something out there like that. But now I want to introduce you to a tool called GummySearch.com. So go.gummysearch.com. You can buy a day pass for $10. That's what I usually tend to do when I make these videos or when I actually use this, right? And then what you can do is you can go here to audiences. I have saved ones, but I can go here to trending. And then in trending, we have the largest ones, the active ones, and then we have the growing ones, right? So the growing ones are interesting to see. You can see here that they have like these graphs. And these are based on yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. So it's kind of good to see these two because they're kind of showing which ones are growing in a weekly or daily basis. So this one, for example, is growing really fast. Gen AI apps, right? So this is something that's being very trendy. Spins and Stripes, a place for gamblers and anyone interested in the iGaming industry. So yeah, so we can look for more. And it doesn't have to, be booming, but at least some type of traction would be good. UFOs, archive, interesting. Yuka app, I don't know what this is. So they have a bunch of different things here. And not only is it growing, but you can look for the active ones. So active, we have different types of columns here. We have posts per day, total posts. So these have a lot of posts per day. So Monopoly, Go Trading. And then there's Pokemon, so a lot of gaming stuff. But I guess that we should choose something a little bit more niche and, something that we can build off of. So, after looking a little bit and seeing the different types of subreddits that they have here, I found this one, Ask a Pilot. So I created this community for the people of Reddit can ask an airline pilot questions, everything from cell phones to why your flight was delayed. So I think this is an interesting one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to an audience. I'm going to create a new audience and call this one Flying. And we can put some other types of subreddits here. like this one, right? And you can start getting some ideas in your head. Me, for example, my wife is she's scared of flying, right? So this might be something that I can find in one of these subreddits and kind of create a solution for it, right? So ask a pilot is one thing, and then I found one called low spoon cooking. And by the way, ask a pilot looks like this in Reddit. So there's 5.1K members, and it's growing 1.7% in a weekly basis. It's not so much, but it's growing. And then we found this other one. Yeah, this one, low spoon cooking. So it's growing 3.2% on a weekly basis, a little bit more. And this is basically for cooking subreddit for spoonies, neurodivergent people, disabled people, chronically ill people, etc. So people with kind of illnesses, right? So let's add this as well. So I'm going to go here, add to audience, and put cooking. And let's see, you can just add this one, right? So we've created two audience now. So let's go ahead and look for that. So we can go here to audiences and we can click on the saved ones. And these are basically our audiences, right? So now what I want to do is let's just start off with this flying. And we can go ahead here and see this little dashboard. So we have subreddits, themes, and topics, right? And then under themes, you have hot discussions, top content, advice requests, solution requests, pain and anger, and news, right? Pain and anger is where people have problems, and that's where solutions kind of, are born from, right? Problems. There's a problem, then there's a hypothesis, then there's eventually a solution. So we can click on pain and anger, and then it's basically loading something, but you can see, okay, struggling, the pain and anger by flying communities on Reddit are filled with individuals expressing fear, anxiety, and frustration related to flying. Many are seeking explanation for flight diversions, looking for reassurance from pilots, and sharing their intense fear. Recent crashes and events have heightened concerns and anxiety. Okay, so we can already start seeing here that a lot of this has to do with the fear of flying. So then we have over here ideas, right? So we have different ideas. The flying community on Reddit is buzzing with diverse ideas from a plane spotting app to propeller design concepts. So there's also talk of creating AI-powered flight planning and a solution for converting physical logbooks to digital. Okay, so let's see maybe if we can find some type of solution for one of these pain and anger, right? So we have anxiety, and you can see I'm in a plane right now and I'm terrified because there's a lot of turbulence, right? So we can see the patterns feature, find common patterns and large numbers of patterns are available. Okay, so yeah, so we can go ahead and find patterns. In this case, there's 73 submissions. And we can't do this one because it's too short, I guess. Okay, let's just close this and go to the next one. Now, if we go to cooking, we can go ahead and click on cooking. We can see that there is also hot discussions. So we can go ahead and click on hot discussions and see some pain and anger, right? So the cooking community on Reddit is expressing frustration and difficulty in coping with cooking ideas, especially when facing challenges like not having a microwave. Despite having a tough week, we need to eat remains a constant struggle for some members. Additionally, there is a discontent towards certain food products such as mini or imi noodles with strong negative reaction being shared. Okay. And then there's this one called Money Talk. We didn't really have that in the other one. It's not even available here. I guess this community is too small. But people talking about spending money. That's also a really interesting thing to have. We didn't really have it here, I guess. It's so... Well, yeah, here we have Money Talk as well for flights. So let's read what flights say. So this week in flying communities on Reddit, discussions range from a specific aircraft and questioning the presence of this one. Pilots also shared experiences like thanking ATC for the record. Okay, so let's click on this and see what this says. So there's no one is really talking about money, even though it says 7 people. All right, the next step that I would do here is basically get this pain and anger. And I want to, try to brainstorm some ideas of how we can solve this pain and anger, right? So let's click on copy and let's go to ChatGPT and write, hi there, can you help me come up with any ideas to build a web app for the following problem. So let's just paste this, submit this, and basically it provided me with some cool ideas. I really like the first one. So flight companion, real-time flight explanation app, where the user would have anxiety during turbulence or unexplained diversions, right? So it would include live flight tracking with pilot-style explanations. Turbulence, like for example, turbulence is normal in this region due to jet streams, with an AI chatbot acting like a virtual co-pilot. I find that pretty cool. Automatic notifications, so we don't really need this option to sync your flight. So I like this option to sync the flight. I like this, and I like this. So the third point. So we can go ahead and say let's go with idea number 1. Let's remove and then let's say, now can you draft a more specific how would he say it, like a user flow of this app. Now as this finishes setting up, I do have another ChatGPT chat open where I basically provided it all of the Lovable prompting documentation. So if I search this, we can see prompt engineering, and right here where it says prompt engineering, prompting one-on-one or 1.1, you can see all of this text that kind of gives you the do's and don'ts of prompting with Lovable, right? Because we're going to be basically building the solution using Lovable. So I have a chat where I fed it all of this information. So what I want to do is I just want to basically get this text and copy it into that chat. So now I did that. I added it to this chat, right? And what we're going to do now is we have here's a carefully crafted Lovable AI prompt you can use to kick off building the Flight Companion app, right? So you are a world-class AI developer creating a calm, supportive web app for nervous flyers, right? So we have the landing page, we have the flight setup page, we have the live flight dashboard, and we have the post-flight summary, and we have some design styles, some technical details, which, we don't really need. And then we have this start by building the landing page with a placeholder builder video, track my flight, call to action, right? So it gives us a good idea of how to build this step by step. And before we bring this idea to Lovable, we can use UX Pilot to generate some cool designs, right? So Lovable won't, come up with a design by itself. You actually have a little bit more control in terms of how the design would look like. You can also bring this into Figma eventually and change the colors and all of that. So this is a great tool that I tend to use for something like that. So we can go ahead and click on new design file, paste the name, we're going to call it Flight Companion, create, and it is loading. And then we have this nice, thing here. We can start off with wireframes, but we want to go straight ahead into hi-fi designs. You could use this Flowbyte one, or you can create your own design system. In this case, I'm just going to use a standard model, which works really fine as well. The Flowbyte is only for the Pro version of UX Pilot, but I'm not using the Pro version. And we can select the type. Let's go desktop. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start building the different screens. So we're going to add screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, 4, and 5, I believe, is the maximum, right? So we're going to go back here, and we're going to go to our first one actually and find a summary, right? So where was it? Actually, what do we have to do here? Here's the context. So let me see. How to prompt. So what we can do here is we can add some references. I'm just going to add, this main thing here. So let's build out and something like this. And make sure that that has everything good. And then for here, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab each one. So that's number 1. Then we have number 2. Then we have number 3. And do we have 5? I don't think we even have 5. So number 3. So we can delete this 5th one. Let's go down to number 4. And perfect. And now what I want to do is I want to add this design style plus technical details. Well, the technical details we can leave out, but the design style I want to add, so we can add that to this main context over here. Paste. Boom. And then once we're done with that, we can click on generate. And it's going to take a few seconds to generate. So after like 2 minutes or so, it already generated the main landing page. It hasn't generated the other pages yet, but you can already start seeing that, you know, it has a really nice structure. You have this nice nav bar. You have this hero section. It's very simple. I wouldn't say that this is, well, maybe it's a cool picture because it kind of shows like a calm passenger next to a window. So that's nice. We have how we help you stay calm, weather updates, flight progress, calming resources. So even the topography, the copywriting is great. See how it works with a demo video, ready for peaceful flight, and then the footer, right? So this is great for now. So after just a few minutes, we have all of the different screens. So we have this landing page, which by the way would be nice if we were to build this like in a tool like Framer, for example, instead of Lovable, because Framer offers this flexible design, customizable, like flexible, customizable design, right? So in Lovable, it does offer that too, but Framer is way more advanced with that. So we have the second screen, right? Welcome to your flight journey. You can add your flight number, your airline, all of this. Then we have like this nice little dashboard. So nice live flight dashboard split into 3 main columns, right? Just as it says. So we have the map, we have the flight status, and we have the turbulence forecast, current, light, next hour, minimal. So that's pretty nice to see. And then we have this flight complete. You did it. You're one step closer to flying with confidence. So yeah, cool. So we have these 4 different screens for now. So basically what I would do is open Lovable, right? So we have this Lovable chat open. This is where all the magic starts, right? And then what we can do is we can go back to ChatGPT where we had our prompt that we built. And let's just start it from here, right? And then go all the way to the bottom. And actually, we don't want to start by building the landing page. So let's skip the landing page as we want to build the landing page using Framer. So let's just write that, and then it's going to create a new prompt for us to use in Lovable. So perfect, use your Lovable AI prompt for Flight Companion and starting directly from the flight setup screen. Perfect. So that's exactly what we want. We just want the app to be built in Lovable. We want the marketing landing page to be built using Framer. So let's go ahead and start selecting everything we need. So we got number one, number 2, which is the dashboard with the 3 columns. We have some interactive tools, post-flight summary, feedback, gentle success message. And let's see, use reusable components. Yeah, let's just include this as well. And let's not forget about that last part. So let's just go like that. Copy this, bring this to Lovable. And what we're going to do also is we're going to go back to UX Pilot and we're going to export these images. Now, if you don't like the color, if you think this is too simple, right? If you want to add, your own type of, design style to it, right? You could save for Figma and open the UX Pilot plugin in Figma. I have another video about this if you want to watch that. but you can open it in Figma and kind of edit it over there and then export it, right? But in this case, what we're going to do is just export this as an image, right? So we're going to export this number 1, and we're going to do that for the different images as well. And after exporting these images, we can just click on attach right here and attach these 3. And we can use them as reference, basically. So Lovable is not only reading this text prompt, it's also reading these 3 images. So we can go ahead and click on this submit button over here. And after about 2 minutes, we get this nice flight companion dashboard or starting point, right? Where we say, welcome to your flight journey. Let us help you have a calm and informed flight experience. We have the index, we have the dashboard looking like this, and we have the summary, I guess, still looking like this. So right now we still don't have anything. Let me just randomly type something, right? Yeah, it still doesn't work, but we have something going on at least. So yeah. So this is a great first step. The next thing is just to ask Lovable or ChatGPT for the next step. So let's go ahead and say Lovable built the flight setup page. Now let's command it to do the next step. So let's just ask ChatGPT to do that. And Lovable prompt build live flight dashboard next up. Now that flight setup page is complete, please implement the live. Okay, the script should simulate a real time. Okay, so map view, flight phase status, AI powered explanation box, turbulence forecast. So there's some interactive tools. Okay, so there's a few things here. Let's see how that goes. We don't really need that design guidance because we already gave it that reference of what we created using UX Pilot. So let's go ahead and paste that here and see what happens. And eventually we do get something looking like this, right? Where we enter our flight and we would get a map, but in this case it's a flight for the future, I guess. So it's not really showing a map. We could change this, right? These are different things that we can prompt Lovable to change. And we can publish this and kind of view this in a custom domain that Lovable creates for us. Or we can go ahead and publish this to our own, to our own domain using something like Netlify, or we can also do it directly in Lovable right here. So now we're done with that. Let's just assume that we are, satisfied with an MVP version of our app, which, by the way, is going to take some prompts to kind of, finalize. Again, you don't want to have something perfect. You want to have something that at least solves the problem that you can test out with people, right? So you want to have that, like that, a main function ready. Let's just say is that people can put their flight information and they can get kind of, good tips, or they can chat with an AI chat to calm them down, right? So let's just assume that's done. And now we want to make our marketing page, right? So in this case, we're using Framer. And like I said before, Framer is like the most flexible design web building tool out there. I think it's my favorite no-code tool. So we have desktop, we have what we want to do is we also want to open for tablet and for phone. And then we want to build our landing page. And we already have a good, example here to follow. And we just need to kind of translate this into Framer. Now, we could build this from scratch, but I think that the best way to do this is to build it with using components, right? Like a component library. Not components, but like a component library. So in this case, there are a few component libraries that we could use. There are paid ones, like, for example, Frameify, which I'm going to have in the description below. You can check that out. But basically, Frameify, you have like a bunch of different, sections here that you can add. Frameify actually has a bunch of different sections, right? So you can choose a section. Let's just say, for example, a hero section, right? Look at all of the different hero sections, right? So that's Frameify. Another one that you can use is one called frame blocks, which I also talk a lot about in most of my videos, where you can also choose different sections. So for example, hero, we can find something like this. It would probably be something like this, right? You can just drag and drop and boom, it's there, responsive for all the different sizes, right? So these are paid ones. There are, ones that are out there that you need to sign up for, like for example, Compa, you need to sign up for them. Most of their components are also paid, but they do have some free components out there, like for example, for the nav bar. So for example, in this case, I would love to use Compa's nav bar because I have a free Compa account, and I can use their free nav bar. I can use their free hero section like this, right? I can go down to, for example, well, we don't need figures, but we need something like, let's say, galleries? No. What is this? This is like, content. Let's see content. So we have different content types. Can we use this one? Yes, also for free, right? And then we need something else like this. This one we can't use. As you can see, there's like this little lock. But the ones that don't have this lock, we can use. For example, this one we can use, and we can just replace it with a video. And then we need something like a call to action, CTA. As you can see, there are a few CTAs over here. We can use this one. And then if we go back to the end, footer, we can use some of these footers, right? So, boom, right? And this is all, responsive. It's perfectly done. It's all responsive. You just have to make sure that the components, the ones that are purple, so the nav bar and the footer, are set to a fill width, but everything else, kind of responds accordingly. Now your app is finished, at least the beta version, right? The MVP is finished, and you can at least get some testers to test it out. And you have a nice marketing website built in Framer, and it is also nice, responsive, and you can use that to kind of show people what your app is about, and kind of lead them through the funnel to your app, right? Let's say that these two things are finished. Now what you want to do is you want to go back to your audience that you saved in GummySearch, and we have this flying one, and we want to go to these different ones out here. So ask flying, ask a pilot, pilots, flying, aviation, right? Let's just choose one for now, and we can create a post, right? And something that I've kind of noticed in the past when, doing posts in Reddit is that people are anonymous here, and they're not afraid to roast you, right? So they're kind of aggressive here. So in this case, I wouldn't promote like a product, right? That's not going to be good for you. I would go in a way, in an empathetic way, saying something like, I built this new tool to help with flight anxiety. I would love to get your feedback, right? In some type of way like that. Don't ask for people to pay for your product. First, start off with some traction. So you can go ahead and create a title and create a body. So we can go and ask ChatGPT to help us with that. So as you can see, I built a tool for nervous flyers to explain what's happening during your flight. Would love your feedback. So it's very, you're not selling something, it's you being very genuine. So hey everyone, I've been reading the subreddit for a while now, and I've noticed how few of you people feel anxious when you fly, especially during turbulence, takeoff, and unexpected turns. A lot of us just want someone to calmly explain what's going on up there. So I built a simple MVP called Flight Companion. It's a web app that gives you real-time, easy to understand explanations of flight, and then you can try it here in this link. And here's what it currently does, right? So, again, if you're trying to build an app, you want to have some testimonials, right? You don't want to start selling right away. You want to build some traction, and this is like kind of the best way to build some traction. Going to the source, asking or asking people for feedback, not only in this subreddit, but in other ones as well. And you're going to start getting visitors to your website, offer them for free so that they can test it out. You might have some bugs, obviously, if this is like your first product. So yeah, but this is a great way to start off and test your product in the actual community, right? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little workshop, going from ideation to building, or to design, then to building, then to creating a landing page, then going back to Reddit, right? So again, if you're interested in learning more about this, visit my website down below. I have a few interesting things for you guys to explore, right? So go ahead and check that out. And if you like this video, please, hit like. That helps a lot. And if you want to talk to me and to my community, join my Discord community. We're more than happy to welcome you and new people. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.